Hi, I'm Denny Hamilton, and I want to tell the story of one of my miracles. And in the 2015, I began having some medical problems. I do heating and cooling, and started experiencing severe headaches. And of course, naturally took over to counter medicine, and it led to seeing the doctor because I started losing my balance. And I'm a Christian, and I was going to Mayersville Brethren Christ Church at the time, and it seemed like it kept getting progressively worse. I went to my family doctor first, and he sent me to a specialist, and they started running preliminary testing and blood work and so forth. And to make a long story short, after about 4 weeks, 5 weeks of this not getting any better but getting worse, it got to the point where I couldn't drive a vehicle. I had to have somebody drive me. They sent me to the Sullenberger group. It's a surgical group across from the Chambersburg Hospital in Franklin County. And they've determined that I definitely had a blood flow issue on the right side of my brain, and or a tumor. They didn't determine how bad it was yet at that point. But at first they thought I had a stroke because my right eye wasn't opening the whole way and my face was a little distorted. So the plan was, here I am sitting at, I go to the doctor on this particular Tuesday. The plan was set up for me. They took blood work, and the following Tuesday, I was scheduled to go to a state-of-the-art facility in Gettysburg to have special CAT scans ran on my brain, and to find out exactly what was going on. By Wednesday, the following day, the doctor told me to come into his office at Sullenberger Group, and they would have everything on computer. And then the next day, they would go through all the blood work, and Friday, they would begin a procedure. And the procedure, depending on what they found, could be anywhere from a regimen of medication to surgery. So obviously, it was a serious matter. So I went along that week. Now, this was Tuesday. I got that schedule. Sunday came, and my wife says, "Denny, do you want to go to church today?" And I hadn't been going hardly anywhere. And I said, "No, I don't feel very good." But I got up, I had a cup of coffee, and all of a sudden the Holy Spirit must have took over and said, "Go to church, go to church." And I just felt this desire. So I told my wife, I said, "I think I'm going to go to church after all." She said, "Thanks a lot. I can't get ready now. How are you going to get there?" So I told her I would drive. I'll take the back roads. She said, "You haven't driven in 6 weeks." No. I said, "I'll take the back roads." So I went to church, and the pastor called all the young people between the ages of 18 and 30 to the front. That day he was in rare form. The Holy Spirit was definitely present. People were all excited. There was a lot of prayer going on, and all the young people in that age group came forward. And in that church, it's about 200 people every Sunday. So a third of 200 people were up front ready to pray for people. And he said, anybody with any issues, medical, marital, financial, whatever. So I found myself going to the front, and I knelt down, and I swear I felt like 1,000 hands were touching my body all over. And I could hear these prayers being whispered, many prayers, just whispered for me. And I thought everybody was praying for me, because naturally my eyes were closed and I was weeping and I had my head down. And I don't even know how long this went on, but when it was over and I stood up, I said, "Whoa!" And I took a deep breath, and it was the first time that I could remember standing up in at least 6 weeks that I didn't get lightheaded. And I felt like I'm healed, and I felt great. And I talked to people there, and I was walking around, and I was feeling good. And I went home, and I said to my wife, I says, her name's Lorena. I said, "Lorena, I think I'm healed. They prayed for me and laid hands on me. I think I'm healed. She said, oh, no, 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 no. She says, you may be, but don't think that's getting you out of going to the doctors and having these tests run. So I said, okay. But no, I want to go. I want to verify this. So I went. Tuesday happened. Had all my tests in Gettysburg. Wednesday we went to the doctor, and the doctor had a big stack of papers and a DVD on top. And he slid it forward, and he said, I don't know what happened. I said, what happened? He said, there's all your stuff, and there's your DVD. You can look at your own brain, put it in your computer if you have one. I said, I got one. He said, it's gone. He said, whatever it was, it's gone. What happened? What did you do? I said, well, now this is, it's not no offense to being whatever you believe in, but this was a Muslim gentleman. I could tell by the things that he had on his office walls and stuff. And I said, well, sir, they laid hands on me on Sunday in church and prayed with me, and I believe it was a miracle. I know that God healed me. And I might have maybe started uttering something, and he held his hand up and said, never doubt your faith. And he agreed with me. And the next day I went into my personal doctor, and he told me that the blood work came back better than it did in 10 years, and that was on and on. So that was the medical thing. This is the part that really, really blew me away. Sunday, this is 1 week later from the day that it happened, I stood up in my church and gave my testimony that the Lord healed me last Sunday, and it was all verified this week. And I was telling them how I heard all these voices praying for me and all these hands touching me. It felt like 1,000 hands touching me. And Pastor Dave said, if you have a minute at the end of this service, can you meet me in my office? I want to share something with you. And I did. And he said, I think this might be valuable for you to know. Denny, I believe that you did hear all these voices, and I believe that you felt 1,000 hands touching you. But I want to tell you, there was only one young lady touching your shoulder and one person praying in your ear. Those were the angels. And I'll tell you what, to this day, I'm talking almost 10 years later, I've never had a reoccurrence, nothing. I've had some other experiences, but this was such a blessing. And that's all I have.